What is up, guys, and welcome to another episode of my HLTV Fantasy. Today we are looking at Blast Premier Fall Showdown 2024. This was, again, really a disappointment in Cologne playoffs. FaZe was really bad. G2 lost to Mouse. Navi were okay, but these were not the players to go for. Vitality winning the event. Should have gone double Vitality. Should have gone for Zaiwu lineup, I guess. But that's how it goes sometimes. Maybe I got too carried away with that FaZe comeback against Liquid and ignored the fact that they have been kind of bad before that, but just the matchup against Seoul was on paper such an easy one for FaZe, or should have been easy for them. I don't really regret anything, but of course, look, it was between the FaZe Navi or the Vitality Navi lineups, and I gambled the wrong way. It happens. I think on paper, going for FaZe, still probably slightly higher EV, but sometimes it goes like this. Unfortunate result, but we have to just go to the next event and see what we can do. This event, let's see if we go for the FaZe bait again. We might, based on this bracket. So it's single elimination. You want to get teams that win all their games. You pick two teams from either side of the bracket. I guess only two teams advance as well. I think upper side of the bracket, there is only one clear favorite. And then there's a couple potential upset teams. To me, FaZe is the number one clear favorite, even after losing to Saw. Saw played pretty good CS, to be honest. It's like FaZe should always win against Saw, but also it's not the worst thing ever to happen to FaZe to lose to Saw. It's gonna be interesting. These are the most picked players. We have a lot of FaZe picks. Karrigan and Rain, I think that makes a lot of sense. The other options don't make sense to me that much. Just price-wise, I think Rain and Karrigan are the ones who are worth it the most here. Robs was a very nice pick last, and Roki were both pretty good picks last time around on paper because of their pretty cheap price as well. I think here they are all slightly overpriced, and I think Rain Karrigan is the way to go if you go for FaZe. Other options on this upper side, C9 I probably wouldn't touch. I think Pain is an interesting option, honestly. Slightly underrated team, just generally. But I just don't think the matchup against FaZe, like, I know it's like, I thought FaZe would win against Saw, but still, I think it is just the correct play to think that FaZe is gonna at least make it to semis here. On the other side, we have Heroic, OG, and NIP. All as teams, like I would say Heroic and NIP are definitely teams that could upset here. OG, I don't know why I even named them. I don't think they're gonna do anything here. Like Heroic, as long as Dexter is playing as well. NIP, if Wrinkle really steps up and everyone else is okay. I think there's pretty good chances for either of them to win here. And then there's a potential upset in the semis against FaZe. But I just see FaZe as the team to go for here. They also have a very easy first matchup against Rare Atom on paper. Whereas Ninjas against Amkal, there's something that could happen here. Even I don't even care who is here. This is the kind of CIS team that can just go up randomly. OG, even though I don't really think there's much in this team, at least it's all very young players who have some potential. But yeah, to me it's a double FaZe angle, and to me it is the two most picked players in the event, Karrigan and Rain. The other side of the bracket is way more interesting. I would say there's multiple teams that you could go for. Falcons has been a bit better. We know the firepower they could have on paper. Pretty nice. M80 still ranked in the top 30, but Without Malbs, they haven't looked as promising. But they also haven't played too much at this level, so we are still yet to kind of see what they can achieve here. I would give the small edge to Falcons here in this matchup, but I wouldn't probably go for either of them personally. But I wouldn't be mad at someone going for either of these teams, to be honest. Cole versus Metisport. I would think Cole should be very favored, but then again, Metisport, I haven't seen them play with this exact lineup. We've seen that Nilo is a very promising young player, and then there's like Plopsky, who at least at some stage in this career was very promising. Adam B looked pretty decent in this Metisport lineup, but apart from that, I don't really know what to expect from them. Except for the fact that Complexity should beat Metisport. They had that short stint where they were actually competitive, but then they made some very weird roster moves. Big Gamer Legion is maybe one of the tightest matchups at this stage. Big is, in my eyes, like currently underperforming as to what they have, but then again, I kind of hate Searson as a player. I just don't rate him at all. I think the other pieces are honestly kind of fine. Like JDC has been good. Crimbo, we know at least can be good, but this is a bit of a slump for him, to be honest. Past 3 months. Hubsen is a decent IGL, but he's not really made his team do much in the last whatever years. Rigon is an okay piece to add, and then Searson is just, he needs to go. They need to find a better offer than Searson. I don't know where they're gonna find that player, but something needs to happen here. This can't happen that Big are playing with an offer who plays as bad as Searson. Gamer Legion is a very interesting team to me. I think I actually really like this lineup. I hope they do well. There's some interesting players, young players, up and comers, led by an up and coming IGL. I think there's the lineup just makes some amount of sense, and that's always positive. So I'm definitely, even though I'm half German, if I never said this before, there you go. Now you know that I'm half German. I won't root for Big in this matchup. I'll root for Gamer Legion, and I do think that they're maybe even slightly favored. I wouldn't go for either of these teams either, personally. The other team I would consider from this side is VP. VP have one of the easiest first matchups on paper. We haven't seen much positive signs, or very many positive signs from VP lately. But we know that this lineup on paper has the potential to just really work once it gets going. And I think it's the sort of team that shouldn't struggle at this level of opposition. Like, I think they almost always make it to the semis here. And then it's just a matter of, can they beat a team like Complexity? We can actually go check. Because they played recently. I just can't remember who won. Complexity won against VP recently. So that would slightly make you give the edge to Complexity. It's also like 2 very dominant maps for Complexity, and then 1 very close loss on Dust 2, which you would expect to be a win for VP. What we can see here personally, like when I'm looking at recent results for Complexity, so apart from this here, which is a best of 1 loss, I would say they're pretty much beating mostly the teams that you would expect them to beat, like Eternal Fire, Alternate Attacks. Then they are still competitive to some extent against like better or pretty good teams like VP here. They took a map off Spirit. And then they're losing against like Liquid, who were... So this is a bit of a weird loss because Liquid were just on fire. Losing to Mouses, of course. Like, you would expect that to happen. What about VP's recent results? I think that's the real question here. Do I go for double VP or double call? And then the 5th is probably going to be from the other team, because I'm too unsure about what's going to happen here. So for VP, the problem is I think there's some losses to teams I would not expect them to lose to. This is fine to lose to, but then they've beaten Vitality here. They also 2-0 Complexity. Okay, I didn't realize they played this recently. twice against each other. So what happened here? Was it like a trouncing or pretty much, yeah. So I think I slightly give the edge to complexity here. Just in general, as a team, based on recent results. But then I think by Falcons, the problem to me is Falcons is maybe a bit better as a potential upset team than Big or Gamer Legion. So I think it's gonna be a double BP angle for me, which is not clearly not uncommon as a pick. There's also some pretty fairly priced players here, like Fame for 199 is, I think, on paper really good. That's a bad rating for him lately, though. What's happened to Fame? This needs to be studied, man. Like last 3 months, 0.96, 0.95. He was really good at some stage. He's really fallen off a cliff for some reason in terms of ratings. Norbert's gonna be a lower ceiling, lower floor player. Or higher floor, rather. James being... The ratings are kind of horrible for VP lately. Flit is supposed to be like one of the star players and he's 208k. I think it has to be a pick. This would be 187. How expensive is... Yeah, because I remember looking at the prices a bit earlier. And Floppy is currently less expensive than JT. It's funny. Grim is always a pretty interesting pick, but not really worth it in my opinion. Is there an Elige angle? Elige is so reliable. I really like picking Elige. I really like JT as a player generally, but it might be better to go for like a Floppy in terms of budget. Then we can't get anyone out of VP as our fifth. I think it is probably like a Jame angle. Jame Flit. Or maybe... I wouldn't go electronic, I don't think. I'd rather maybe even have Fame. What are Norbert's stats like lately? Could go Jame Norbert. He's not doing well either. What about electronic stat wise? It's just these recent results for VP are pretty poor. But it is to a large extent due to just this one bad event. If you don't look at Blast, stats are more okay. What about Fame stats? Was it just a really bad Blast? And then other than that, decent? No, it's actually been pretty bad for a while now. Before this, it must have been better, right? I'm not just imagining things, yeah. Like, look at this. Something's happened here. He was decent at Cologne, but didn't get to play much. I'd rather have Fame, I think. I just know that there's a pretty high ceiling there, even if it's not been on show lately. I would say the same about Flit, I think. Turn off an alarm. Yeah, let's check. It's supposed to be like this incredible fragger for his team. Then again, James is supposed to also like be kind of a rock. He was worse at Cologne, but apart from that, he's been a bit better. I mean, this makes use of all the money. I'm not sure. It's really weird because I think the pricing just doesn't allow me to go for any of these. I don't really want to go for any of these weirder cheaper options because they are actually pretty expensive. Like a Wrinkle at 210k, for example, I would be way more interested. But 215, it's just so expensive. Like even the heroic players, like a Shush for 203k, doesn't feel like it makes sense. Pixan 189, it doesn't feel worth it when you can get like a JT for 196 with way better matchups. What if it is one of these guys then? It could be. And then just cheaper players from here. Roki was such a disappointment. Frozen is now cheaper. 595. If you go for Fame and Flit, you still don't have much here. Flit or Fame and Norbert, a lot of money, but I don't think Norbert's the pick here. I mean, this is a lineup. If you have any faith in Robs, he's just like the whole FaZe team has looked kind of. This is the problem with this whole event, is that it feels like it's a team or an event full of teams with where like all the good supposedly good teams are kind of, they just don't have any confidence, and then all of the like on paper worst teams are, well, they're worse. I think there's a very good probability or possibility of upsets happening here. I don't know why I closed the tabs I had open here. Maybe it's supposed to be like an IP lineup or heroic lineup. Just hope you pick the team that wins against the other. I just don't see FaZe ever losing this first matchup, first of all. And then I think they're gonna absolutely farm Rare Adam just to get confidence back. And I don't really see them losing either of these matchups either, even though Pain is a very decent team. And then on this side, it's kind of the same story. I just don't think Complexity is losing this. Some of those upsets are gonna happen, but I don't know. I can't predict which one it is. I hope that I dodge the upsets. There's a lineup. How good's Halzork been lately? Not very good. How do you pick team when all the players are bad? Elise is good, but he's so expensive. Is it doable at all? Like, you can't ignore VP completely, of course. Go for something like this. How bad is Snappy as a pick? I've picked Snappy a couple times. He's not felt like the worst player. Yeah, Cologne 1.0. Lane was pretty bad. But he's not had like this kind of performance for a while now, at least. We do expect Falcons to win here, but I do expect it to be a close game. So kicks on. Snow is unfortunately on like the same side here. I could go for Snow if it wasn't for that. That's also so. I don't have faith in Isak. Don't have faith in Rek or really anyone on MAD. Like Sin, maybe. I could see myself having some faith in Sin, but I've picked Sin before and he's been pretty nice, but it's again with the Falcons matchup. You could beat Falcons. It's not impossible. I could see that happening as like an upset. I think I like JT more than Floppy as a pick. I'm not a Grim fan here. Floppy Kicksan kind of makes sense. I do like Elige. I just, like, I have no faith in most of the players, but I do think Elige is gonna be, like, I have a hard time seeing Elige be really bad. What sort of opposition is Rek? Is Rek supposed to be this player who I gamble on? No, he's playing in CCT North America Series. Like, this is what happens when he plays real events. Yeah, I'm not convinced. Sin, I know, can do some actual things against real opposition. What if Zero Tenacity just offset VP? It's single elim, but they're also playing like these sorts of events where the rating doesn't matter. C9, honestly, I have some faith in this lineup just in general, but they're also on this side with FaZe, and I think FaZe is gonna win against those teams. That makes sense. Isak is like, what is this pricing? I don't understand. Why is Isak so expensive? It should be like Maxter at that price, I think. Nilo at 189. That's a price. But it makes absolutely zero sense if I go completely. Could be the Snappy angle. But the money just is weird for a Snappy. Do we have it with Grim? We do. Grim is supposed to be a bit better. At least. Wait, can you actually... Is there a player? No. Probably for Robs there is, right? Yeah, Floppy. But I don't think this is even better. I'd rather have Grim and Rain than Robs and Floppy, I think. It is close. I don't like Floppy. I do like Rain. Rain can absolutely farm some noobs. Yeah, so I think it is you. Always Grim stats. Let's just have a quick look at that. He can be good. Oh man, stats look so bad. Actually, not that bad. Playing he was decent, or really good actually for his level. World Cup he was bad. Here he was bad. Is he a noob stomper or is he a always similar ratings kind of guy? Kind of an always similar ratings, more so. Not as much of a noob stomper. Do we have faith in Grim? Let's have some faith in Grim. It works out money wise. I don't think there's a lineup here that I'm happy with. I am happy to have you. I'm happy with you too. Just on paper, I think it has to be double FaZe and it has to be these two guys pretty much, unless make some big sacrifices. And I think Snappy as an enabler could work. How does this work role-wise then? Snappy as support or what? 3161. Oh yeah, he was really good at eco-friendly. That's also a reason I had him earlier. That's a really good role for him. Guessing IGL on Argon has to be the play. Checking that there's nothing weird. Yeah, let's go for it. And then Rain with headshots or entry. Headshots is really good. So far, role-wise, we're golden. Grim is gonna be the weird one, I think, where nothing's gonna work. Oh boy, nothing is really nothing is working. Might have to be IGL Grim. Yeah, I think so. Oh, wait a second. I just realized I can't build this lineup either because they're playing here against each other, Snappy and... Okay, edit lineup time. That sucks. So then I think it is Floppy and Kixan. I do think Kixan is a better individual player than... I think it might just be better as well, this. I rate Kixan as an individual a lot more than Snappy, and I rate Floppy and Grim almost the same. So let's go with that. Maybe this works out better role-wise as well, I hope. 45, 43, that's good. What is Floppy's? Floppy's support, right? Floppy support-wise is really okay as well. Yeah, so role-wise also Grim is horrible, and Floppy is pretty good. Yeah. Makes sense. And then a Liege with like one of the good ones. 50, 31. 50, 33 on attacker. That's good. So role-wise this works out. I'm more happy with this. after putting on the roles, I'm more happy with this than the lineup I was almost making with Snappy. And now we have like all different quarters of the bracket covered. Slightly longer video today as well, by the way. Hopefully you enjoy my ramblings. Last video was a bit shorter, so compensating now. Boosters, just throw really good boosters on early on. It's best of threes all the way as well. Yeah. Let's go for this here. We hope to always 2-0. This, not one of the best ones. What is one of the best ones for Rain? This is really good for him, but it's really even better for Elige. Or let's go assist here. You have to be pretty unlucky if that doesn't hit. 60%. I don't think we expect or want him to die that much. I think this makes sense. Then again, there's definitely probably some aimers on the other side for them. But I'll keep it there. Floppy had a pretty nice pistol rating actually. Now let's go as Elige, but Elige might have enough better boosters to use. I think it's probably pistol here. Go for a good pistol for you, and then Kixan with consistent might be okay. This is pretty good. Eco-friendly as well, as eco-friendly and the farmer booster also, of course, kind of work together. Let's go for that. So that's the lineup. Let's hope we actually do better than last event or last few events even. It's been a disappointing season so far. It's also being, by the way, if you follow me on Twitter now, link in the description, I posted my FPL lineup, so Fantasy Premier League, which I played for the first time last season and finished at like 50k rank or something like that, which is pretty good. And this season I'm looking for a better rank, but at least the first week has been not so great either. So all fantasy sports sites that I play are not so good for right now. But let's hope this event, Elish pops off, Floppy is good, FaZe make light work of their opponents, and Kickstand can be a rock for his team as well. Either way, if you enjoy this kind of content, please remember to leave a like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.